Hi, this is Group 16, and for our senior design project, we have built a tube cleaner. In this group, we have Nicholas DeMarco, Edward O'Connor, Neha Rao, and Jenna Vasquez. We are all Stony Brook Motorsports members, and every year we weld approximately 70 tubes to create a frame. In order to get a proper weld, we need to clean the ends of each tube with a scouring pad and a non-flammable degreasing agent, removing debris and oxidation from the outside of the tube. Typically, a team member will place the tube in a lathe and hold the scouring pad against the spinning tube. Then, the remaining debris is cleaned away with a paper towel and a non-flammable degreasing agent. This takes 5 to 10 minutes. The goal with our device is to reduce the time and effort needed to clean the tubes by automating the tube cleaning process. It's split into two sections. The first is the abrasive, and the next section is the degreasing as shown here. Let's go over how the abrasive section works. First, a tube with an outer diameter of 3/4, 1, and 1 1/4 inches is inserted into the section by lifting up and releasing the lever. For the prototype, we are using some PVC pipes. There are 3 shafts with rubber wheels that triangulate the tube into the center of the device. One axis rotates the tube while one idles, and the top one clamps down onto the tube and idles. We also have springs that force the rollers up and down the tube. Once the tube is loaded and properly clamped, the Load Tube button is pressed to indicate that the task is done, followed by the Clean Tube button, which turns on the abrasive wheel. For the full-scaled model, the wheel will be about 3 inches thick, which will clean enough of the tube to get an adequate weld. After 60 seconds, the wheel stops turning, and the user will remove the tube and press the corresponding button to indicate that the step is complete. Let's get a bit more technical. The system is connected to a kill switch, which stops the system in case of an emergency. A computer power supply gives DC power to an Arduino Uno, as well as 2 motors. The frame is made out of 80/20 extrusions, and corner brackets were used to provide structure and stability support as shown here. For the degreasing section, the tube is inserted until it reaches the conical stopper. The switch is then turned on and the degreaser timer button is pressed, turning on the pump. The degreaser goes through the nozzles and is sprayed onto at least 3 inches of the tube. Once the tube is cleaned, the degreaser timer button is pressed to indicate that the step is over and the user can pull out the tube. Let's dive a little deeper into the degreasing section. First, the section is held within a storage container, which keeps all the liquid in a waterproof enclosure. The latches in the container lid ensure that the user can easily provide maintenance for the device if need be. There are 2 individual frames inside the assembly made out of 80/20 extrusions, where one holds the conical stopper and the other one houses the pump. Both frames are bolted to a piece of sheet metal, which is the size of the bottom of the container. This ensures that the frames do not move around. Additionally, it should be noted that the degreaser is reused, since the filler that acts as one of the side walls of the frame houses the pump. Lastly, there are 2 pieces of nitrile rubber surrounding the opening of the tube hole. This way, minimal liquid remains on the tube after it's pulled out. The nitrile rubber is responsible to wipe off all the liquid from the tube. Additionally, there is an e-stop in case of an emergency. Now that we've went over the basic components of the device, let's take a sneak peek of how each of the different sections work, starting with the assembly process. Here we have Ed, tightening some nuts and bolts for the abrasive section. Here we're testing the tube to make sure it's properly centered so that it can be ground down by the abrasive wheel. Ed is back wiring up the switch for the degreasing section. This switch is what turns on the pump and causes the degreaser to come out of the nozzles. It's time to see the prototype in action. We cover the PVC in some oil and dirt to mimic conditions the tube will be in. The dirty tube is inserted into the abrasive section. Once the tube is secured, we will see the user start the abrasive operation by pressing the necessary buttons. Afterwards, we will see the user take out the tube after the operation is over, and immediately it looks more clean. Then the tube is inserted into the degreasing section. The switch and the timer are turned on as the operation begins. The tube is dry on its way out, and it shows no visible dirt, indicating that the tube is ready to be welded. This has been Group 16, and thank you so much for watching.